favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And Mayor Richter is present as well. If we can please stand up, invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, come before you today, dear Lord, to ask you, guide us, be our light, Lord Jesus. Help us have peace, joy, love, understanding, Lord Heavenly Father, and like the book of Hebrews says, to keep us brave, dear Lord Heavenly Father. Help us make good, wise decisions for this city. All these things I ask in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Certified posting of agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council members, the agenda was duly posted as required by state law at least 72 hours prior to the start of the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am. I have several public comments, I believe 5. So, para los que escribieron los comentos, those of you that wrote the comments, I'm gonna call you up. You have how many minutes? 3 minutes?
So we do have 3 minutes, Mayor, for each comment. Son 3 minutos. We ask that all speakers follow all the rules pertaining to this. That includes being respectful, being courteous. The council does not need to respond to any of the comments. And if they are going to respond, there are items on the agenda which they can address. So if it's on the agenda, los comentarios tienen que ser respetuosos, con cortesía, y el consejo no tiene que responder a los mensajes del día de hoy.
Y nomás, just for the...
No más son 3 minutos.
3 minutos por persona, o son 5, si quieren y pueden, ¿verdad? 3 son 15 minutos, ¿verdad? Y si quieren hablar juntos, pues, también podemos hacerle así, so, ahí como quieran. 1, 2, miré antes before I read them, I'm going to say it in English and Spanish, antes de que las lea, ya las leí, y bastantes son cositas, ¿verdad? Calles, speed bumps, cositas de esas, ¿verdad? Luces, drenaje, sure, el que nos va a ayudar es Mr. Rudy, Rudy, el de la camisa blanca, está acá al frente.
Rudy Flores.
Sí, Mr. Rudy Flores, y también posiblemente Mr. César Gutiérrez, estos dos, para que los miren bien a bien, okay, para que los puedan atender. So, después de que hablen, pueden, ellos después de que discutan, porque no podemos decir, vamos a hacer esto con esta calle, vamos a hacer, es nomás para escucharlos, pero no los vamos a dejar que se vayan sin darles una buena respuesta, ¿ok? Nomás para que sepan los que escribieron. Y gracias por venir y gracias por escribir, ¿verdad? Thank you. So, la primera persona es Lourdes Carrillo, on 2901 PTJ Drive. You can come up, Lourdes, asking for a rezoned lot. Speed bumps, go ahead. Lourdes.
Good afternoon. My name is Lourdes Carrillo. I live in St. Paul Estates here in Palmview. And our concern as a neighborhood is that we have a lot of traffic going in and out of our subdivision. We have already brought up this concern. Rudy is already working with us. We just want to make sure that follow through with our concern with the fact that we have traffic galore because we are the only street other than Old 83 that's going from Silver Spur to Abram. And that we're hoping that the city might want to extend one of these days, okay, like the other street, so that we can alleviate maybe our traffic. We have a concern that we have a lot of trucks going through our neighborhood, heavy trucks, 18-wheelers, cement trucks, city trucks, that doesn't help with the potholes of the neighborhood, that we do have a lot of bumps and dips in there. We have a concern with the fact that there's just way too much traffic. We do want to thank you guys because we did get the children at play signs like immediately. So thank you for getting that going. We got them. We're just concerned for the safety of our kids, the safety of our neighborhood, and we just want to know that things are going to get moved forward with the speed bumps. And I know that most of my neighbors are wanting to maybe close out our subdivision, make an HOA subdivision, but we've been told we can't because we're the only street that crosses from one. So we're hoping that maybe we can get another street, to get opened up to where we can make that possible in the near future if our neighbors decide to do that. The other part, I know we'll talk about it when it comes into appreciate if the city of Palmview can help out our subdivision. Our subdivision, we pay a lot of taxes. I mean, I know myself, I pay $10,000 in taxes. That's a lot of taxes for us not to be able to enjoy our neighborhood because of the traffic. We have the pulga that is open twice a week at nighttime, and they use the pulga as a hangout. So young people come in and out, and we have people doing donuts and a little turn a sack in the corner. We have people's racing, you know, side by side down our streets. We have, it gets bad. It gets really bad, little. So we just want more vigilance also on behalf of Palmview Police Department, you know, to do more rounds around there because especially Tuesday nights, Friday nights, when the pulga is going on, it gets, traffic gets really bad there. And sometimes we can't enjoy, you know, being outside because we're afraid, you know, the kids running out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Francisca Quintanilla from 1415, I don't know, something street in Palmview. Francisca.
Buenas tardes a cada uno de ustedes.
Buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es Francisca Quintanilla y vengo de la colonia Ramírez 4.
¿De dónde, Miss?
Colonia Ramírez 4.
Ramírez. Oye,
Estamos estoy nuevamente aquí, ¿verdad? De nuevo para estamos trabajando con ciertas peticiones. Estamos ahorita con el tiempo de las lluvias, de nuevos tormentas, tenemos miedo. Tenemos miedo de volver a estar bajo lluvia otra vez, bajo nuestras casas, ¿verdad? Bajo inundaciones. Tenemos miedo tocante a eso y sabemos que están trabajando con nosotros tocante a eso. Sabemos que no podemos tener respuesta también, pero sí nos pueden dar, como ahorita nos indicó, darnos una respuesta y también cómo vamos para trabajando, como cuando vinieron de Austin, que las firmas se levantaron. Si hay alguna respuesta tocante a esto, porque es bien importante para nosotros como colonia. Estamos batallando mucho también con los topes, el tráfico, no se respetan ahí. Es mucho la velocidad que las personas de ahí, ¿verdad? Tal vez no sean de ahí mismo de la colonia, pero entran y salen recio. Ahora que empezaron la escuela, hay mucho peligro con eso. Entonces sí nos gustaría mucho tener otras respuestas que sigan trabajando con nosotros tocante a eso. El drenaje también, ¿verdad? Que estamos también en base con todo eso también. Gracias.
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 Sonia Ramírez from 1313 21st Street. Pásale, Sonia.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Yo también vengo a lo mismo en la colonia de nosotros, ¿verdad? Yo vivo en la calle 21. Pues ahí también necesitamos mantenimiento o trabajo de hora de que pusieron los, ¿cómo se llama? Del agua, que se estanca todo y como estamos en el tiempo de la lluvia, ¿verdad? Pues es nuestra preocupación. También muchos años he oído que ahí no pueden hacer ninguna clase de trabajo porque supuestamente no estamos en el mapa, ¿verdad? Pero pues yo sé que sí estamos porque incluso cuando hemos venido a sacar un permiso u otras cosas, siempre aparece en nuestra calle, ¿verdad? Pero eso es lo que nos dicen, ¿verdad?
Que no puede hacer,
¿Mande?
que no podemos hacer trabajo ahí.
Sí, incluso ahora que anduvieron trabajando hace unos años que hicieron eso del agua, no trabajaron en esta calle, por lo mismo, ¿verdad? Y pues sí necesitamos, ¿verdad? Porque pues nosotros la ilusión que tuvimos al dar nuestro voto era porque nos iban a ayudar, ¿verdad? Para hacer mejor nuestra colonia y nuestra ciudad. Y pues queremos que nos apoyen con el alumbrado, con los diches del agua, para que no se estanque, ¿verdad? Y también unos topes porque a veces pasan muy recio y también necesitamos vigilancia. Y eso es lo que nosotros esperamos, ¿verdad? De ustedes, ¿verdad?
¿Otra cosa?
Pues no, por lo pronto no.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a ustedes.
Ustedes. Raela González. ¿Era qué tal? ¿Lo pronuncié bien?
Soy Graciela.
Graciela.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas
Pues
tardes.
también venimos otra vez con la molestia de que necesitamos ayuda de urgencia porque en julio de este año pasado yo perdí todas mis plantas porque todo mi solar se inundó a causa de esos tubos que nos hicieron favor de poner. Claro que sí, a muchas sí les ayudaron, pero a la mayoría no. También estamos pidiendo los topes que antes los había y cuando pusieron ese pavimento los quitaron. Los carros pasan como si estuvieran en carreras.
¿En qué
Hay
calle?
mu-
¿Qué
en la
calle es
calle
esta?
20, perdón.
¿La
En la
20?
1319. En la
Oh,
1319, en la calle 20.
Ok.
Entonces ahí también estamos pidiendo la ayuda de ustedes amablemente porque tenemos la necesidad de venir a pedirles de favor los topes, inclusive en mi calle en la 20, allá para el fondo se pone, está muy oscuro porque faltan luces, muy oscuro que se pone ese final de la calle porque es rotonda y necesitamos esas luces también. Gracias por pavimentar tapar los baches de ciertas calles, porque también con estas lluvias se hacen más. Entonces necesitamos los topes, necesitamos también el drenaje, porque desde que levantaron la calle nos inundamos. Nunca había pasado. Yo vivo ahí, su casa ahí en la calle 20, desde el 87, y es la primera vez que se inundó a causa de esos tubos que pusieron, porque no llega, la pusieron muy alta. Antes nunca nos inundábamos. Y también porque realmente no había llovido mucho, realmente. Entonces, pues yo pido su ayuda también por parte de otros vecinos que no se han juntado en las juntas que hemos tenido, porque pues yo sé que la unión hace la fuerza. Y yo les pido de favor que nos puedan ayudar. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
María Garza, on 2017 Moorfield Road.
Buenas tardes.
María Gasca, de 217 Moorfield. Lo que viene ahí son igual las calles, el sewer, el drainage. Yo vivo right on Moorfield, so a mí mi casa se me inunda de más todo el terreno, no hay salida, no hay entrada cuando llueve. Aparte del drainage, no es mucho la agua de la lluvia, yo les he dicho, no me importa el agua de la lluvia, no tengo problema. El problema es el drenaje, los tanques sépticos, que aún tenemos tanques sépticos. Cuando llueve es demasiada el agua, se levanta toda el agua, se levanta todo lo que es el olor, o sea, la textura, todo el terreno, o sea, literal se ve. Aparte de eso, digo, bueno, todavía dijéramos, cualquiera dijera, bueno, mucha gente se está quejando porque no tiene lluvia y nosotros que tenemos lluvia, nos inunda. El sewer. Si tuviéramos un drenaje, un sewer, que sería, ¿verdad? Como le digo, no nos importaría el agua tanto como si tuviéramos sewer. Pero lo que sí me di cuenta, realizando hace poco, viniendo de fuera, viendo las noticias, tenemos un problema de agua. En el mundo entero se está secando. Ahora digo yo, Moorfield, en mi colonia, nadie tiene sewers. Esa agua que nosotros estamos consumiendo, literal, se está tirando, se está perdiendo. Estamos tirando miles de galones de agua, que ya no vamos a recuperar porque esa agua se va a los tanques, se evapora y se pierde. Si tuviéramos un sewer, esa agua se reciclaría y seguiríamos usándola. ¿Sí me entienden? O sea, sería no sería una solución en total, pero sería un comienzo para la ayuda del agua que se está perdiendo. Eso lo que yo más venía era pointed out. I know most of you already know, pues yeah, it does make sense. Water is being wasted. Water is being just like, literally, es como si abriera las llaves, se está tirando. We need a sewer system. to recycle that water. So, you know, maybe in a couple of years, pues no seríamos, no tuviéramos un problema de que se está escasando el agua, se nos está acabando el agua. So, you know, that mostly para mí sería the sewer. Like, can we get, you know, talk to, I don't know, Agua Sur or something to work it out? I know it's not only my colonia, I know there's maybe other colonias in Palmview, but that's just like, to think about, that's just water just being wasted. And that's what I just wanted to bring out. Other than that, it's just the lighting, which we already had, you know, talked about it. I still haven't had an answer or anything specific about when it's gonna be the lighting. 217, once you enter, it's just dark all the way to, I guess, 20th Street. That's the first light they have. Other than that, that's just what I wanted to bring. The sewer, it's the mainly, I'll say we put in number 1 sewer, drainage, and then lighting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, Juan Antonio Treviño.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Antonio Treviño. I actually signed that. I wasn't sure if I was going to be. I should be on the agenda. So if I am on the agenda, I would rather speak when later on in the process.
For the public hearing?
It-
Oh, for the public hearing.
It's on item 6.1.
Yes.
It's in the public hearing,
Yes.
so we can wait until the public hearing?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I got it. So, yo, los que hablaron ahorita, sí hay planes que vienen, ¿verdad? Y vamos a really take care of Rudy and Cesar. You guys can address them right now, or so that, you know, unless they want to, si se quieren quedar para la junta, también pueden. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rudy. Cesar. 6.1.
No.
Hold on, public hearing.
We're gonna open up.
Okay, hold on. For the record, it was about 6:15 when Commissioner Garcia.
6:11 and 6:13.
6:13, there you go. 6:13 for Mayor Pro Tem and
6:11 Mayor Pro Tem,
11,
6:13
6:11
Mr.
Mayor
Garcia.
Pro Tem, and 6:13 Mr. Commissioner Garcia. All right.
Well, Mayor, if you'd like, since there's a group of them, we can speak to most of those comments, if not all, if, you know, we can do it now, or if you want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go to item 9 under monthly reports under
Sure.
Public Works, I'll speak to that.
So do I have a motion to?
You don't need a motion.
Well,
We'll
it's
take
not
it out
a
of
motion
order.
yet. We're
We'll
going
take it out of
into.
order.
Item,
Okay, so Rudy, monthly report. Before you get over there.
And I'm going to speak to it, but he's going to get the ladies in.
9:5.
This is a good opportunity to cut your group. Give them a little bit of history and
this
background
is,
on it. No, only the ones called upon. And this one will call upon it just to be able to address some of those questions. Vamos a hablar tocante de la calle de la Morfield, la 19, 20 y 21, 22. El Departamento de Public Works está encargado de eso. El director no está aquí ahorita, está enfermo, pero sí tenemos varias cosas que estamos haciendo que podemos reportar al City Council y también a la gente del público. Un poquito de historia. Mucha gente de esa colonia, los de Ramírez, los dijeron que, ¿sabes qué? Cuando hicieron las calles, de repente comenzaron a dar la agua. Y no iba cosas, los diches enfrente de la casa antes, y no había problemas. Y nomás vinieron, hicieron las calles de nuevo, los peviaron. Y hicieron los diches y ahora sí hay problemas. Y nosotros acá en la ciudad estamos, pues, no hacemos las calles ahí, realmente no hacemos las calles. So, lo ponemos a trabajar porque sí sabemos que sí hay un problema, el agua se queda ahí en los diches y no va para ninguna parte. So, hablamos con el condado y el condado nos dijo, no, esa era los otros, el condado, cuando esa área, antes que era de ciudad, cuando era del condado, los otros hacemos un proyecto de las calles y también ponemos los diches ahí para la agua que se queda en los diches en vez de estar arriba de las calles. Por eso las calles están un poquito más altas de los diches, porque el plan de ellos es que no querían el agua en las calles porque las calles eran nuevas y sabían hacer como se hace problemas con el agua que hay en las calles. Y dijimos, ok, you know, it makes sense. So, ¿para dónde debe de correr el agua? ¿Cómo debe funcionar el sistema? ¿Para dónde corre el agua? Y los que lo dijeron ellos eran un poquito curiosos, los dijeron, pues no, el agua no corre por ninguna parte, ahí se queda. Y pues dijimos nosotros, ¿por qué? Pues se queda ahí. Sí, la cosa es que no se queda arriba de las calles que se ponen los diches. Y les dijimos, pues también hay casas que se están ondeando por esa misma razón. Y los dijeron ellos que no, las casas deben estar alta, de un suficiente,
Altura.
¿cómo se
Elevado, elevación.
como like 15 inches or 2 feet or 3 feet, deben estar así elevated, so no se deben de inundar. Y los dejaron con eso y dijimos, pues ahora sí es ciudad, nosotros estamos responsables de qué vamos a hacer, pero esa es un poquito la cuestión de por qué se hizo así, ¿no? So, nosotros lo que estamos haciendo con el apoyo de los comisionados es mandamos para un proyecto que nos va a dar para drenaje, para que corra el agua para un lugar. Vamos a hacer riches y pipas para que corra para el canal grande que está allá, porque ahorita no corre en una parte. Cada vez que lleva, nosotros estamos ahí pompeando, sacando la agua para el otro lado de la calle. Y no queremos también va a necesitar hacer eso, pero ahí estamos. Ese plan, bueno, para la casa agarraron mucha gente a firmar, muchas gracias por ese apoyo, eso nos ayudó mucho, lo mandamos para el Estado, y ojalá que nos dicen al fin de este año que se va a hacer, todo se mira que se mira muy bien para ganar ese dinero, ojalá que se hace, pero por mientras vamos a estar ahí checando. Tocante de los streets, del drainage, del speed, si hay muchos carros que están pasando, en el 19, 20, 21, 22, sí hay unas cosas que podemos hacer con los speed bumps, lo que dicen, ¿verdad? Pero en la calle Moorfield, yendo para allá, no sé si es too fast o no se puede hacer o no, ¿verdad? It might be too fast, pero necesitamos firmas de la gente ahí, pero ahorita si van a ir para un lado, para hablar con Rudy y con César también, el proceso que se puede hacer para los speed bumps. Y el último del sewer, la ciudad, unfortunately, no tenemos ¿cómo se dice? El authority, sí, para agua,
los
o
derechos.
para el sewer, no tenemos. Otras ciudades sí lo tienen, como en Mission, ellos se encargan del agua y del sewer también. Nosotros acá no necesitamos hablar con Agua SUD, trabajamos con ellos. Ellos están encargados del agua y ellos están encargados del sewer. Entonces lo que podemos hacer, le podemos decir, hey, si pueden, no sé si tienen planes a poner sewer ahorita en el Moorfield para el sewer. Ahorita no lo ponieron, no era plan, nomás fueron como hasta el Brave Fogel, se más en esa dirección. So no llegó hasta el Moorfield. So necesitamos a trabajar y a pedirle a la gente de la Agua SUD que si hay planes para el sewer, si se puede hacer algo con el sewer, hay una colonia ahí que está afectando el drenaje y el sewer, se están pegando los dos lados y a ver, podemos hacer algo con eso, pero también si ustedes tienen chance, habla con la gente de Agua SUD, con sus representantes ahí también, que la apoyen con el sewer ahí. So nomás just a brief update on some of the projects in relation to Moorfield South. Como digo, si ahorita tienen chance, habla con Rudy, con César, por parte de los speed bumps.
PTJ.
Oh, PTJ. Sí, en las luces, ya sé que ya metimos más luces de streetlights de la Moorfield en la entrada.
Ya pusimos luces ahí, ¿verdad?
En 19, 20, 21, 22, sí, pero en la entrada de Moorfield querían como se cosía dos más y en el fin del que la calle.
Look into it, Rudy, and see the plan.
We already put in the request to AEP, no estamos esperando al AEP, la compañía de la luz, ¿verdad? Ellos los ponen, nosotros lo pagamos, pero ellos los ponen y ya lo tienen en la lista. Están haciendo otros luces ahorita en el sur de Palmview y cuando acaban ahí les dicen que lo van a dar el contrato para ese lugar, so ojalá en la semana que viene para las luces. En el PTJ Drive, sí, para los speed bumps, nomás I think Rudy said that they already put in a petition for the speed bumps, which will help. But the other question is that heavy truck traffic. The heavy trucks is something that we've been talking about for a while that we need to enforce, and we're going to enforce it in residential areas. And as I then said, we can't be too selective. Oh, we can do it here, but not over here. So
I think we should enforce it throughout the city.
But another thing,
Because it is an ordinance.
I would like to recommend about the speed bumps. Sometimes they become dangerous because if they going too fast and they fly over, run over one, they're going to run into a house. So I would recommend, les recomendaría tomaran video, agarren las placas de los muebles estos porque la mayoría de las veces son de ahí del barrio. Y es mejor a pescar los que están haciendo eso, se lo reporta con la policía para poder pescar porque casi son los mismos chamacos. Y les recomendaría que tomaran una foto o agarren las placas de los muebles para poder hacer algo, ¿verdad? Porque los speed bumps van a ser buenos, pero pueden ser malos también.
I think, Commissioner, that's why we get them to sign.
Okay,
sign, you want a speed bump?
El problema.
Sign here in case something does happen. We're not going to be held
No,
liable.
no.
Though, and they could try, but PTJ has a whole different situation.
Right,
Commissioner
with the
Garcia.
traffic.
Yeah.
They have people going to the Pulga that are
Right.
not from the
There's no
neighborhood.
other street that runs
So
east and
we
west.
have to,
Yeah.
Is there any way we can get, maybe PD
That.
to guide traffic out?
During
or
those
like
days?
to
During-
block
How-
on those days?
on those days, yeah.
How plausible is it for us to do that?
Presence be known.
Or recommend to the owner of the pulga
Block
for them to provide traffic control.
How,
You
Mike,
met with him?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
or Reden, I don't know
Chief.
if this is for you, how plausible
Chief.
is it for us to
to make another street from east to west when that property is owned by people.
See, it's-
City can enter into eminent domain, but that's a whole other issue unless
Right.
the other people is willing to sell the property to the city and the city's
Correct.
willing to buy and purchase it.
Is there any way we can require or ask for the dueños de la pulga to provide some kind of a traffic control?
There,
Because I've seen the traffic, I've stumped the
Look
traffic.
into
we would definitely need to look into it. I don't know if they would be able to have traffic control on the major roadways.
No, not the major, on their,
They
On
can have
their
traffic.
area.
Yeah, but the problem that they are having is.
on
that
our
a lot
hours,
of-
on
A
our
lot of
roads.
people use it as a through street.
Right, right. People
And
that
in
don't
the
live there.
cul-de-sac, there is actually a cul-de-sac in that neighborhood.
I went by there.
And they use
I
that
saw that.
as a playground. So we
They-
definitely need to keep a closer eye on that.
Patrol that area more often, maybe, or
And it's maybe
Especially
those
now-
days That they announced, so maybe those certain hours. have
Maybe we can
somebody-
put a tower out there.
that's what I was.
Has
gonna
there
ask.
been
Can we
any
put a tower
accidents there?
especially on the
Yes,
days,
there
on those
has
days.
been-
On those
there
days.
has been a few.
Because of the expressway, because of the expressway that you cannot go through it, so you're gonna have more traffic on the frontage and the Pulga people coming, the people that are visiting the Pulga are coming in and that creates traffic and that's maybe they're going towards the back to
Well,
get
a lot
out.
of people, a lot of people don't necessarily wanna go around, so they end up cutting through their neighborhood.
Right.
And since the entrance to the Pulga is right in front, it's almost right in front of where their street ends.
So there's an entrance to the Pulga from that side.
Like a side
Yes.
entrance,
So
yeah.
we
And they
can
come out
Ah,
probably-
okay.
we
On
can
Abram
probably
Road.
work with the property owners at the Pulga in order to maybe perhaps get a better solution to their entrances. And
Well,
not-
you
What
can-
about,
You
I
can
know it's a
work
very
on
nice
zoning.
neighborhood.
You can work with zoning with that. If, for example, the street is zoned residential and the Pulga is zoned commercial with its front, affixing the
To the
expressway,
expressway.
then you can close entrances from the business part to the residential part to not use it. And the city can enforce that.
That would be
I
something
think
to,
We'll look
maybe
at that
we
and
could
then
do something
see
like
if we
that.
can do
Use some barriers?
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can limit
Hours, right?
access to the business, zone from a residential street.
Which is on the Silver Spur side.
Correct.
yeah.
So
Because
that we have the power to do without talking to them.
Yeah.
We can just close it by enforcement.
Because
And-
even in speaking with the residents, I mean, there was one instance, and I do remember that crash where the vehicle came very, very close to the window of one of the bedrooms of
Yeah.
the residents.
Because of the speed
So,
bump.
I mean, definitely we do need to, putting the tower out there is one way of possibly mitigating it, but it's gonna have to be enforcement. It's gonna
They have to be closed.
Or you
That's,
can do
that has to be closed.
I like his idea, it's a
To
simple
prevent.
solution, you just, on Fridays and
Wednesdays?
Tuesdays, or Wednesdays.
Wednesdays,
you put
Wednesdays
that
and
big
Fridays.
old barrier there, sorry, you can't come through here on Fridays, with all
And
due respect,
Wednesdays.
right, it's our private street.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
And
and
Friday.
Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Well, I mean, you can shut, where I was going with this, you can shut down the entrance to the
To
Pulga
the Pulga.
altogether
Right.
From-
by
So that's
enforcement
gonna be
from the
one-
Silver
From the
Spur,
Silver
Right.
from the residential
Yeah.
street.
Correct. But we can't close any of those other
The
streets.
drive will
The
still
drive
be
will still be
open
accessible.
because
Right.
we won't be able to close it.
Alright.
Pero those people, once it's closed.
They'll be
by
forced to go through the main
enforcement, they'll drive,
entrance,
and then they
right.
see it's closed, and then the next time, I
Right,
don't know,
yeah.
to por ahí.
Could,
Pero maybe,
And I know it's a problem too, like, all the way past Chavez Middle School, the traffic is
Oh,
pretty
no.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're doing that, because of the traffic coming from the expressway closure. They should be open, no.
It's open.
yeah.
well,
Yeah, from showers from.
Mr. Leo, but that's a very nice neighborhood. I mean, those houses are very nice.
It is, and
If they create some kind of an HOA, those associations, why couldn't they do like a gated?
They could, but I think they looked
We
into
could.
it, they spoke with legal, and there was some legal.
We could,
challenges.
the issue is that there's no HOA set up, so
Right.
there's no one that the city could deed the street to. The streets are actual real property, and so in order for us to be able to shut that street down, we would have to deed it over to an HOA to administer. And so the
¿venderíamos algo
residents,
así?
right, the residents need to get together, they
Yeah.
need to hire legal on their own to form for them a legal entity under the Homeowners Association Act of Texas to create the HOA. Once they create an HOA to
would be
administer their subdivision, then they could come to the city to request affixation of that property over to them. In which
Even-
case, the city could deed over the streets to the HOA for them to administer on their own.
Even if it's the only street
Even if it's
connecting
the
those
only
two?
street,
Oh, great,
because
that's
there is
awesome.
another street,
Good.
which is Old 83.
Yes, it's on the street.
Okay, then that's,
That would be
Right.
something,
that's
right?
good.
So the
Very
way to do it is the residents would have to get together, hire legal, have their legal counsel form for them an HOA. If the required number of residents sign on for the HOA, pay the cost associated with that, form the HOA, then come to the city, request ownership of the street. The city can then deed the street over to them, and then they can install their gates at the
It
entrance
has to be on
points.
both sides.
But I think the more.
They can do whatever they want. At that point, all we do is deed over the
But
street.
wasn't
We
that,
can't,
wasn't that private property before?
that's
When
gonna
it
take
was, when
money
it
and
became a
time.
subdivision?
right, but at the moment it becomes a subdivision and it's not administered by an HOA, the streets are deeded over to us. So we administer the streets. And so right now, the streets are the city, and the city cannot restrict access because that would be a gift of public funds if you install your own gates or anything. So the only way to do it is that the city can deed the streets over, but you can only deed the streets over to an HOA organization. At which point you deed the streets over, they take care of maintenance, they take care of whatever it is they want to do, including the installation of gates if they wish.
So you all understood? Yeah, it's gonna take money.
Yeah.
And it's not from the city,
I
it's,
know that some of the residents, have, voiced that they might want that. I'm not sure if it will go through, because I know we need like, what, 80%?
right.
And as it is, like I said, like, we're already paying close to $10,000 each in taxes. And closing it down is gonna bring up property values. It's going to just, I mean, we'd be paying $14,000, $15,000 in taxes.
So what we,
Plus paying HOA
so-
fees and doing.
so what the city
so-
can do, with all due respect, is the speed humps is gonna help.
Yeah.
The
Patrolling.
Patrolling, the police, and
The tower.
possibly looking at avenues to close that entrance.
And
I understand
And
that, I understand
enforce-
that, but what about the rest of the
No,
city?
we'll do that for sure.
What about the rest of the
We'll do that for
residents? I mean, we're gonna
I'm sorry?
concentrate there or
We'll do
there.
that for sure,
Yes,
right?
the city can, the city can
I don't know.
create its own help by speed bumps, which is a legal authority
Do it
of
all
a city,
over town.
monitoring,
saying,
which
I
is a
mean,
legal authority of city.
We have
and-
other residents, I mean, they need patrolling, they need
And through
lighting,
en-
they need, you know,
and
there's a
through
lot of things that
enforcement.
everybody needs.
Right.
well, yeah, but I mean,
The quick one would be the enforcement to shut down that
Enforcement.
entrance to the pulga, just because you
They need to
can,
help each other, that's what you're saying, right?
I'm sorry?
They need to help each other, the ones that live there, like, try to come up with a plan so we can try to.
If they want to do an HOA to
Yeah,
have
yes.
control of their streets, that's what would happen. If not, we're limited to what we can do based on city powers.
but I think the
We got,
quicker
how many more is
fix,
it, like 16,000, more? More?
I think the quick fix here would be to enforce,
An enforcement of access
of
from a
access to the
residential area
residents,
to a
right.
commercial area.
that would be the quick fix here, and patrolling, and, I know
With everybody else.
the truck ordinance, I don't know if we're enforcing it, or we gotta enforce it everywhere. And I know, she mentioned cement trucks, well, you know, sometimes there's construction of homes there, we can't stop that, we gotta allow that. But, you know, unless the guy lives there or something, I don't know.
Our neighborhood is fully,
But down, I noticed there's some construction further down. There's-
South of the,
Yeah, I don't know
the
if,
flea market, there's some.
cause I went by there the
construction
other day, cause I do that sometimes, I get in my truck and I go around town and check it out. And I noticed they were doing donuts there in that cul-de-sac.
Yeah, no heavy traffic through
Yeah.
residential areas. You gotta enforce
Yeah, the city can put signs that says no truck route. That's
Ándale.
one way to mitigate the trucks, be able to cite trucks who are driving through there. That's one, again, enforcement, that we're talking
We
about.
just want the people to feel comfortable and safe, especially our kids. When I was a kid, I used to play on the street. And you can't do that anymore.
no, kids
And
cannot ride bikes
that's,
in our neighborhood.
that's not good. That's not good.
Okay, so we have some solutions, not the ultimate solution, but we have some good remedies to help on our end.
It'd be perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you get that, Rudy, on the truck signs? The heavy
The ordinance.
truck?
We have truck signs in different areas of the city, but it comes down to, are we going to
Or
enforce?
enforce it.
Yeah.
We need to,
We have to make a decision quick and,
we have lots of those signs throughout the city.
yeah, and do it throughout the city. I know it
Yo sé, pero like it's not
might hurt some
something
people.
that
Gracias, adelante.
they're- Adelante, muchas gracias.
Okay. All right, so.
But with that, Mayor, we can go pick up.
Any other, yeah, any of the lights, we already talked about lights. Just look at those cul-de-sacs that they're asking. I know there's lights already in some of those areas, some of them might be, make sure that we're being fair with everybody, right? Anything else? Any other questions? I had a question on department updates. How do we do, we didn't talk about it Saturday, real quick, on the, what was it, the billing and collection of trash.
I think we have an agenda item specifically
okay.
for that, or do we put it on?
We'll
No, we have an
wait.
agenda item specifically for that.
All right, so let's go back to item 6.1, open, public hearing. Do I have a motion?
A motion to open a public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. It's 6:43, and I'm open this public hearing. And just for the record, I'll read the item. Consideration to rezone from its present designated land use zoning, single-family residential to multifamily residential, St. Paul Estates, Lot 2704 on South Haven Road.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this lot is located along the southeast corner of PTJ Drive, approximately 1,300 feet east of Silver Spur Lane. The applicant is requesting to rezone to multifamily residential for proposed apartments on the property. Currently, there's a shop and a porch on the property right now. There were 17 letters that were sent to the residents in the surrounding 200-foot radius. And at the time, before the planning and zoning meeting, we had 3 letters opposing and 2 letters in favor, but at the time of the meeting, we were turned in an additional 20 letters opposing this rezone. So
20 letters, but only 17 that
So
sent out?
there were copies that were
Oh,
made, yes,
Okay.
that were turned into others that didn't get the letter.
Did they say the reason why they were opposing?
The same reasons, traffic,
Mhm.
traffic, safety.
Are they next to the Silver Spur apartments or where?
No, this lot is on the,
On the Abram site, no?
on the coming from Abram on
Mhm.
PTJ. As soon as you turn
Right.
south on that little,
South.
in PTJ Drive, there's a little
Yeah.
section where you turn south, right there at that
Like the little curve
southeast
before you
corner,
curve
yes.
in?
That property is part of the subdivision,
And they wanna make
but they
apartments.
they currently enter through Abram Road. So it's fenced off,
Mhm.
but it is part of that subdivision.
So the residents
So
don't.
did this go
Can't picture
through,
it.
did this go through planning and zoning?
I know
Yes,
it's-
yes, this did go through planning and zoning, and after discussion, planning and zoning, voted to deny the request to rezone.
Okay.
We do have,
So you voted to what?
to deny,
To deny.
to the planning and zoning.
zoning based on the recommendations from
From the residents.
residents
They heard the residents out, yes.
many letters? You said 20 letters?
There were a total of 23 after the meeting.
But 17 said no.
But we're talking about apartments, right? We're talking about rooftops, right?
Yes, that's what they're requesting. They're requesting to
Apartments.
multifamily for apartments.
Are they gonna be nice apartments? Are they gonna be, I mean,
The owner is here. The owner is here as well too.
yeah, I'd like to hear,
discuss that.
I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we do have representatives.
okay.
Good evening, my name is Juan Antonio Trevino, and I am the owner of 704 South Abrams. I have some plans here, and I'd like to show
Yes,
you all,
please.
if I could. I hope I got enough for everybody.
You can pass it down, sir.
There you go.
Sí, thank you. Oh, ¿tiene? Oh, you
One more.
okay.
One more.
One more?
Mr. Trujillo, what kind of apartments are you gonna make here?
Well, I mean, I've reconsidered this because there was a lot of blowback, honestly, last week, that concern to a certain extent, but at the same time, most of the concerns were what the lady talked about, you know, traffic
Traffic.
from the Pulga, you know, some young boys going through there. I honestly believe that the plan that we have would be an improvement to the area and an asset to the city of Mission. I'm sorry, Palmview. We went from 8 apartments, then that night that we talked about after, you know, all the blowback, you know, we decided to we talked about doing 4. At this point in time, considering what everybody talked about and all the concerns, we planned 2 apartments. And it would be we talked about 1 roof, and it would be something nice. It would be a duplex.
A duplex.
Yeah, but to conform with all the regulations that are in that subdivision, there are some beautiful homes in there. You know, we want to keep it that way. We want to improve it, or there's at least to the same standards that are currently there. I do understand the concerns, but honestly, a lot of them have nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Have you talked to the planning and zoning?
Yes, I was here last week. And,
Would the entrance be from the Abrams side, or would they have to go through the PTJ subdivision?
It would be both. It would be going through PTJ, and going out through PTJ, and it would be going out through Abrams. Both. But we would like to use the exit also that's right there. We have it walled off right now. We've had it for years walled off because we've got some trucks in there.
It doesn't have streets here. Which ones are the streets that we're talking about?
If you'd allow me, I can go up there.
Yeah, please, please. I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah. Yes, this is Abrams right here.
Where?
Okay.
This one?
Write it,
Yeah, this is.
write it down so you, I can.
So over here is St. Paul entrance?
Yeah, PTJ. Abrams. Okay, so,
So this is south and this is north.
yes. And we're going in through here, coming in through here right now.
Is that PTJ?
No, this is PTJ right here.
Okay.
But if you come through PTJ, and this is the cul-de-sac right here, this is the entrance to this property, but we have it sealed off right now. We would open it up, we would put a nice fancy gate, electric gate for, and it would be 1 roof, but a duplex, and something nice. You know,
But
Was
so,
this explained
what's,
to the,
what's
to
the
the
street?
planning and zoning?
We started off with 8, and like I was saying earlier, we've had a lot of blowback.
But you have enough land there for 8, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a big piece of land.
There's actually 1.35 acres of an acre.
Do you know
Yes.
this?
But there was a lot of blowback from and the last thing that we want to do is cause problems or we want to improve the area.
And we want rooftops.
So, we went from 8, we went to 4, and now we're at 2, but 1 solid, building only.
So it's gonna be gated?
On our side, yes, it would be gated, right here, we would put an electric gate, something nice.
I would recommend for you to take it back to the planning and zoning, talk it over and see what you all can come up with. And take them a real picture of de todo, ¿verdad? Cómo se va a ver.
I gave plans,
No, pero, like, cómo se va a ver y todo.
okay.
Mira, I would recommend that.
Why are you addressing one member?
Why 1 member? Okay, so because the item pertains to his.
No, like, why is he only talking?
Because I'm the one asking questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one
Well,
asking the
He came over
question.
here to explain
Okay.
what the plan is, and the plan, that he was gonna do it during public comments, but he
We got
chose
it.
not to speak during public comments.
So, yeah.
So I would, I
Yeah, it has
like
to go
his
back.
idea, recommend go to planning and zoning. I know it's a long process, and I'm sure we have people here that are from PTJ as well that either were for it or weren't. But at this point, I mean, I'm gonna recommend that we back what the planning and zoning did, their decision. That's what that board is for.
No, yeah, I understand.
Or unless I heard Mr. Garcia say, take it back to planning and zoning.
To my neighbors, basically, because they are my neighbors, I don't live there, but they are my neighbors, I would like, sorry?
We are.
No, I do understand, you know, I do understand.
Go ahead and,
Yes.
the item real quick, so civilized, we brought him, he chose to stay and speak during this time. So it's pretty much not his item, but it is an item that deals with his
He
property.
has the floor right now.
Yeah.
I have a couple
It's a
questions.
public hearing, so they can come in, what happened, but
between Abram and the entrance of your property, is there any homes across the street or on this side of the street here?
There are, I believe, I'm not sure, 5 or 6 homes on this
Oh, so
side.
there are some here, less,
I think there's like, más o menos 6 homes there.
okay, so there are probably some of the ones that petitioned also?
I don't know if they did or not, to be honest with you. You know, we have a good rapport with all of them, but I really don't know.
What
I
if you
think there
were
was,
to only have an entrance maybe from the Abram side where it doesn't interfere with the neighborhood?
That would be what he would have to take back to planning and zoning.
Like, I don't know, if maybe they would reconsider if that were.
that could be an option, you know, we would be, it would be only, we would have restrictions like we do in other properties that we own. 2 cars per apartment, you know, and it's only 2 apartments, so it will only be 4 cars that would make it, that really wouldn't make a difference there. And I think that I would be an asset to the neighborhood as far as helping out with any which way we can, try to keep the area safe and not devalue the values of the homes or anything like that. That's the last thing we want to do.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next item, 6.2.
Are we gonna, it's a motion?
Okay.
It's a public hearing, so.
Yeah, it's a public hearing, so you have.
Again, your name.
Hi again, Lourdes Carrillo. I'm at 2901 PTJ Drive. I am on the property adjacent to where they want to build the apartments. We share a fence. We share a fence to where right now there's the business of the trucking business that's behind us, where they want to do the apartment complex. On behalf of my neighbors, because we've met, we've talked, we brought in those 20 letters. Literally, we brought in a letter from every neighbor with the exception of Mr. Pete's daughter. We did not get her letter, and I think we know obviously why. But other than that, every single resident in the neighborhood signed a letter opposing to it. Every single resident does not agree. I'm sorry, we do not agree that it will benefit our neighborhood. We have a nice neighborhood. Just imagine an apartment complex, whether it's 2, 3, 4, being built in the middle of your neighborhood. There will be houses on all 4 sides of these buildings. I know he mentions it's only 4 cars, but there are 6 houses that have that easement right behind them, where they're gonna be traveling through that easement, which is Mr. Pete's property that they've gotta go from. If they use just Abram, they would have to be using that easement to go out into Abram. And our concern is that with rentals, it's not permanent. Like, we are neighbors, we've been there for years, we get a new family, and we're there forever. Like, the turnaround has been very, very low, to where maybe only 1 house has sold, you know, like, in 2 houses, you know. Most of us have been there. With rentals, you'll get a lease for 1 year, and that's what's gonna happen. Next year, we have another neighbor. We've got more people passing through the back of those homes, seeing what they have, seeing what's out there, seeing their barbecue pits, you know, their toys and their, you know, see, it puts them to danger. As it is, we have all that traffic there, and that's not our major concern when we're dealing with this. With this, we're dealing more with what's gonna happen to our property value. I know he says that he thinks it's gonna be a betterment for our property value. We don't agree. We really think that if I were to wanna sell my house, the first thing they're gonna look at is, oh, I don't like those apartments that are next door. I mean, very easily. My house in the back, we've got an outdoor kitchen, we've got a big patio, we have a very nice outside area to where I'm gonna have apartments over here, and I don't know what they look like. I don't know if there's 2 stories, they're 1 story. I don't know their elevation. Are they gonna be able to see into my house, like when we're barbecuing, when we're there? And I know what, the point, if I ever wanna sell my property, that's gonna devaluate my property. But my other neighbors as well, we're concerned with safety because of the turnaround, because they're gonna be renters. They're not gonna be permanent residents. and everyone around us were permanent residents. And it's a residential neighborhood. So why put, I mean, there's a lot of places where there's apartments where you can have, well, sell the lot and go buy a lot where you can build apartments, where there's more apartments next to them, where it's a multifamily community. Why in the middle of a neighborhood? Like, that's our thing. It's like, yes, they might be nice. Maybe they can be upscale. Build a house, rent out the house. You can rent out a house for $3,000 versus renting 2 apartments for $1,500. But at least make the aesthetic of our neighborhood stay intact. The aesthetic of our neighborhood look, okay, continue being that nice neighborhood that it is. And opening up that turn-a-sack right there, like, close, that said, into PTJ, that is definitely, like, you're making that part of our neighborhood. If you're gonna stick a gate in the middle, because that's literally the middle part of the neighborhood, saying like, okay, you know what, there's an entrance here to an apartment complex. Even if it's 2, even if it's 4, we just ask that you please consider it. If it were your home, would you like an apartment built next to your home? Would you like an apartment complex built inside your neighborhood? Where the turnaround, where you're not gonna know who's there. Like, somebody builds a house in our neighborhood, we go. It's like, hi neighbor, I live over here. And we're gonna do that every 12 months and say, hey neighbor, like who's living in this apartment now? And then the next 12 months, that's our community. And that's the way we wanna keep it. We wanna keep it as a community where we know who's living there, we know who's staying there, we know who's going to be interacting with our kids, and so we just ask that you please consider and take into account what we already came through zoning. That day in zoning, we had this, like, right now we have maybe about 10 of our neighbors here. That day we had all 20 of us were here. Because that was how much opposition, like, we're like, no, it cannot happen. We need to speak up. We need to voice our concern. We need to, let them know that we're not for it. Now, you asked why they said 17 letters and you ended up with 20. The letter did say that only the people that were 200 feet away got the letter. But then we read a paragraph that said, anyone in the neighborhood that opposes may show up to the public hearing. But then we figured, well, these people didn't get letters. How do they know that they can show up to a public hearing if only the people that were 200 feet got it? So what we did, we went to PTJ and we went down St. Paul Estates and we went to every lot, every home from our neighborhood. These are the homes that Pete sold to us, which he set out restrictions for us. When we bought these lots, and I bought this lot many, many years ago. And when we bought these lots, he said, you know what? We want to make a nice neighborhood for Palmview. Back then it was just land. It was just his house. He said, we want a nice neighborhood with restrictions. You're gonna have to build a home that's so many feet. You're gonna have to build a home that you cannot, like, literally it has there, we cannot have trash. We cannot have trailers. We cannot have a garage facing the front of our house that's attached to our home. It has to be a side garage or a back garage, or either not attached. It had to be brick or just stucco. We cannot have any wood on the outside of our home. There was a lot of restrictions, and now we see that they want to impose these apartments up in our neighborhood, and we don't agree with that. We don't agree with that because we bought these lots knowing it was going to be a nice neighborhood. That's the way it was stipulated. That's the way they set it out. That's what we bought. And then now they want to do this in the middle. Now, this is lot number 2 of St. Paul Estates. So it belongs to our neighborhood. I don't think that lot should have any other way other than build a home with the same restrictions we all have. That's what we believe. I mean, give us another neighbor. We welcome another family. We welcome another family. Like right now we know we put up with the trailer business or the trucking business because it has been grandfathered. Pete has had it there forever. And we would love another home. But we really do not agree on those apartment complexes. And we ask you that when it comes to vote, take into consideration what the zoning department already, they denied it. They're the experts, like you say. They looked into, they're the ones that know about the property values. They're going to know about the zoning. Is it appropriate or not for a city? and they were opposed. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate you letting us speak to you guys, and we hope that you consider our views and what we believe in and what we want when you guys are going to make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
For
you.
your passion.
Can I make one, I have one question.
Yes.
Come on up, sir. What's your name, sir?
Randy Carrillo.
Randy, go ahead, Randy.
I'm the owner of lot 22. So if lot number 2 goes into commercial, right, if you make apartments there, does that mean I can make my lot commercial?
There's restrictions to that.
I mean, I'm in the middle, I'm in the right in the corner. So can I build if he can build apartments, can I build a drive-through? Right in the middle of the neighborhood? That's the question I have. If he's gonna make lot number 2 commercial, I'm in lot number 22. So then I can make my lot commercial too?
No, we understand, sir. We understand perfectly where you're coming from, sir.
And I got a big house, I can make something commercial out of my house quick. It's just, you know,
It's a good point.
that's what I was thinking.
You
That's
made a
the way
good
I
point.
put it, you know?
Good point, sir.
I'm not making nothing out of my house, but I'm paying taxes,
Exactly.
like $10,000 worth of taxes a year. If you make something commercial, it's gonna give you something back. My house is not giving me nothing back.
Correct.
That's the only question I have.
Except
Hopefully it gives you
a place
peace,
where you
joy,
have
love,
peace, right.
If
all
they
that
don't
good
make
stuff that comes with a
A
home.
home, a home.
Thank you for all of you.
Love
you
and
know,
all that.
And you too, sir, for
Yes,
working on making
absolutely.
a place here in Palmview, but all of you that many years ago decided to buy a lot here in Palmview instead of McAllen or Far or
Yeah,
wherever
we
else.
could've went
We
anywhere,
want you to
anyplace
stay
else,
here.
but we chose here, cause we're born
And the
here, I mean,
purpose
not
of the
born
meeting-
here, but I mean, raised here. I was
Raised
born in McAllen, but I was born, that was raised.
Thank you for building a
But I
big
mean,
house.
you know
in
what I mean,
Palmview.
it's just, I mean,
And paying the taxes too. You know.
I mean, look at where we live, and we're paying $10,000 worth of taxes. I mean, it's,
Oh, it's
It's
a
a lot
nice
of money.
place there. It's a nice place.
And
I've
the
been
purpose
to
of the
it.
city
Really
is
nice
planning
homes.
and zoning to decide those issues. And I thank you guys, thank you all. And
I
we-
gotta
we
work my
heard
ass
you.
off to pay those taxes. I'm gonna pay off my house and just divide the $10,000, I'm still gonna be paying rent after I retire. You know,
Enjoy
and
your
the taxes
home.
are going high.
And we want you to enjoy your home, all of you. You know,
Higher.
all the
Too
property
bad we don't
owners.
get it all, we just get a piece of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
Give
city's
us a
gonna
school
do
district.
everything
I paid
possible to
$10,000
make
taxes
sure
too.
that you
We could
guys
use it,
will
we could
take
use
care
that.
of it.
That's the only person I have.
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What taxes we do pay, because I pay $10,000.
Well, yeah, but
I don't pay it to the city.
no.
Yeah,
That's,
the biggest
it's all
portion-
there's a breakdown.
Yeah, the biggest
But-
portion goes to the school district,
County.
and then the county after that, and then we're probably third, and then there's SDC has a portion of it.
Drainage.
South Texas ISD has a portion, the drainage district has a portion. So, yeah, we get maybe 25% of the complete tax.
Right.
And I pay $10,000 and I don't live in a neighborhood like that.
And the city provides, we might, you know, of course, the school provides education, which is the most important thing.
There's well on taxes.
But we provide police protection, fire, ambulance, and, you know, security for your children and for the families. That's what we try to do here.
And to address one question where that came out we follow the online as well. Why is this on the agenda again? It's not meant to be again on the agenda, even though planning and zoning denied it last week. That's just a process.
Yeah.
It goes before the planning and zoning board, and then automatically it has to come to this council, and this council will consider accepting the recommendation of the planning and zoning board, or if they have other thoughts or feedback that they'd like to hear, but that's just the process. It's not meant to be, oh, here we go again, or anything like that.
This is your, part of your city. Go ahead, go ahead.
My name is Daisy Campos. I live in PTJ Drive. I'm neighbors with all of them. And my question is, it was recommended for it to go into planning and zoning again. Does that mean that we would have to show up again if you guys
Well, if
deny?
it would, then yes, but right now, relieving the recommendations that we were saying, like we, that's not a